What's up, people? This is Rubin Report. I seriously hope you know my name at this point. I've got two great guests with me. A lesbian wearing flannel. I can't believe it.
I did it for you.
Whitney Mixter. And a man who wasn't happy with his pants selection when you realized that...
Well, I'm glad you drew attention to them, because now I feel much more comfortable.
Peitzman from BuzzFeed, two of my favorite people, and Rubin Report returning. You guys have been... You're veterans.
Oh, yeah.
You're hardcore veterans, so I have a good feeling about this show, so here we go. All right, got to start with the most important story of the week. Vanity Fair released pictures from the set of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. So there's a bunch of pictures here. Adam Driver, who is in Girls. He's gonna play Kylo Ren. I think he's gonna be the bad guy. Lupita Nyong'o is gonna play Maz Kanata. There are some names for you. Here are a bunch of galactic travelers and smugglers. Oscar Isaac is gonna play Pope Dameron. And Daisy Ridley is gonna play Rey. All right, so I've been saying how I don't like this idea of spoilers. I think it kind of ruins these things, and yet I just did it here, so what does that say about me? I'm not so sure. So we don't have to talk about Star Wars that much, but generally...
Can we, though?
Can we? We can if you want.
No, I'm fine. I'm good.
But what do you guys think of, like, we live in a time when everything sort of gets spoiled. Like, there's no surprises anymore. Like, I watched the trailer. I love seeing Harrison Ford back and Chewbacca and all that stuff. But, like, everything kind of gets pre-spoiled these days, doesn't it?
This isn't really a spoiler because we're getting them from Vanity Fair. They're from the studio. They're not, like, leaked.
Right.
So I wouldn't call it a spoiler, but in terms of, like, surprises, it's true that we now get a lot more information early on. The thing that I hate is that we get casting information very, very early. So, like, for TV shows, if a character's leaving, we find out, like, 6 months in advance because we know about the contract negotiations.
Yeah.
Things that we used to not know about at all. So it really, like, takes away from the surprise of that.
Yeah. Do you miss the surprise? We have no surprises anymore because of social media and this stuff, right?
Yeah, I feel like people need every piece that they can possibly acquire to try to piece the story together themselves. So it totally takes out, the whole reason that you're going to the movies in the end. I personally try to just never watch anything. I just never. I don't open my eyes ever.
Yeah, so that nothing can ever be spoiled.
Nothing can penetrate this one.
For you.
Exactly.
Yeah. What captured your guys' imagination the way Star Wars has clearly captured mine? Is there anything that did it for you that way?
As a kid?
As a kid, as an adult, or
I mean,
what are you now?
Star Wars,
So Star Wars did it for you as a kid?
Yeah. I mean, I watched the original trilogy when I was young.
Yeah.
And I think that I was young enough that when Episode 1 came out, I wasn't totally horrified by it. Like, I was a little bit, like, excited to see a Star Wars movie in theaters.
How old were you when The Phantom Menace?
I was 13.
So that's young enough that it still worked.
Like, on the cusp of being, like, a little bit bratty about it. But, I mean, it was terrible. But I, like, remember, like, seeing it with my parents and kind of being excited and, like, jazzed about it because, we waited in line for 3 hours and it was like a Star Wars experience. Then afterwards, that kind of like look on their faces when I realized that, like, oh, this was actually really bad, and I should know better.
Right. What captured it for you?
I was really into the Ghostbusters. I really dove headfirst into that ghost hunting world.
Are you excited for the all-girls Ghostbusters?
Hello, yes, Kristen Wiig. It doesn't get better than that. That's amazing. Yeah, I would construct little cardboard boxes and throw them into the middle of, like, my mom talking with her friends in the living room as the ghost catching box, like creating my own, trying to suck in the evil in the room, I guess.
You're so cost effective. I can't get over this.
It's called poverty. It's called thinking outside of the box.
Did you ever cross the streams?
Oh yes, all the times I'm crossing the streams right now. It's romantic.
Right.
Wow.
We've taken our relationship to the next level.
Yeah. Anyway, clearly our most groundbreaking story ever. What do you guys think? Does all this stuff, does it ruin the surprise? This thing's not coming out till Christmas, so we still have like 6 months. Or are you okay with getting it kind of leaked and learning a little bit about the story and the characters beforehand? Let us know your thoughts in the comments right down below. Local Republican actually kind of cool.
Thomas Massie, a Libertarian Congressman from Kentucky, is ready to shake things up on the House floor. Elected in 2012, Massie, an MIT grad with a successful tech company under his belt, is a character to say the least. Not only does Massie own a Tesla and live off the grid on a self-sustained cattle farm, he stands for some pretty progressive ideas. The congressman is against national surveillance, wants to repeal the Patriot Act, is for industrial hemp, and has voted against John Boehner for Speaker of the House not once, but twice. Massie claims he's no superhero. Instead, he's just an ideologue saying, if something I care about lines up with something a Democrat cares about, there's nothing that gets in the way of us working together.
All right, so the guy is off the grid. He's down with hemp. He doesn't like the NSA. He's not a fan of Boehner, the establishment Republicans. Guy actually seems kind of cool. Could either one of you guys ever vote Republican?
I mean, I could vote Republican. I agree with his ideologue viewpoint of supporting the cause, the belief, the law, and not being partisan. But this guy, just because he owns a Tesla and like has solar power,
I'm just
does
very
not
impressed
make
with
him
the
rad.
Teslas.
Like, yeah, I like Teslas too. But he also supported the Defense of Marriage Act. He is pro-life. He's for offshore drilling. I mean, there's a lot of very Republican things that are still going on that trump him being just like environmentally sound.
Yeah, so you could vote for Republican, just not this guy.
I mean, I could if his or her viewpoints lined up with mine, but so far it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you think about this hemp off the grid Tesla driver?
I think you're giving too much credit to being off the grid. I think there's a lot of people who live off the grid who are like not cool and are totally crazy.
Right.
Especially if
Appalachia.
like they're really stoned. Like people who are like way off the grid who are paranoid.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if, I mean, he seems cool enough.
Yeah.
Kind of, not based on everything else he believes in. But like, I don't know if he's actually chill or just like really scared of the government.
Yeah,
Like no
I'm
NSA.
so
I live on my
mind-blown
own.
by this.
I'm like really high all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Now, we don't know that he smokes weed. He just wants hemp,
Okay.
industrial hemp. He could build a rope.
But
for.
what
Sure he
is
does.
making this guy cool? My mind is blown by this story because I just don't get what makes that guy. Also, please reference back the photo of him. Like, I wouldn't
Right,
be
he has
like,
a-
that guy looks awesome. Like, I wouldn't be like him. Like, no, I'm not judging a book by its cover there, but even when I opened the book and read some pages, I wasn't super stoked on him. I wasn't
Right.
like,
I think Dave's
sign
just
me
like
up for
Dave's
the
just really
Republican
into the
Party.
Tesla.
I
don't-
just really like the Tesla, and I like the idea of off the grid, but actually I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I think you are right. Like when I think of someone off the grid, I think of like this sort of grungy, like kind of dirty guy that has to like do shit. But that guy, he does
I
look
think of a
kind of
survivalist
dorky, but I
with,
don't want
like,
to make this
a
about his
bunch of-
looks. He's wearing a
Right.
suit and,
I think of the
Yeah.
guy with like the gun stockpile, like waiting for the government to come take his guns away, and
Yeah.
he's just like ready.
Right.
What does it say about somebody that would want to be off the grid yet also be a politician? Like you want that a politician
It
is the
seems-
most invasive thing
It's
you
like
can
Sia.
do, right? What?
It's like Sia, she wants to be a pop star, but like no one know what she looks like.
That's slightly going over my head, but I feel like it's a good reference.
She's a pop star.
I know
She's been facing the other way when she performs.
Or she covers her face entirely. Yeah.
Yeah.
She wants to be a pop star and perform, but like not have the celebrity aspect of it.
Right.
She said so. She goes out, but she will cover her face, so
Yeah.
she can like not be recognized.
I
she's-
see. I think
That's like
that,
the
but
Daft
see,
Punk guys.
yeah.
Yeah, but she's doing it like with a deliberate message of like I don't want to have to deal with celebrity culture.
Got
But
it.
I don't think he's
Got it.
doing it like I don't want to deal with politics. I think he's like possibly like watching illegal pornography, like a lot,
So he's off the
or something like that.
Grid.
That's what.
When you're off
You
the
can
grid.
still get electricity and internet and Wi-Fi. Some like
Oh.
you know.
You get
I'm saying I
internet
think
when you're
he
off
just.
the grid?
He's on the
Well,
dark
yeah,
net.
he can just get like
he's on
a
the dark net.
hotspot. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like from a satellite. I'm just saying something is fishy with this
Yeah.
because his actual politics are not in any way liberal. Really, they're
Right.
not.
So does the whole two-party thing seem completely crazy to you? Like when I saw this story, the thing that I actually saw it on BuzzFeed, and the thing that seemed interesting to me was that it was a Republican that was a little bit different. And that just seems so silly. Like that do either one of you, do you identify as a Democrat then? Or like doesn't the label stuff just seem ridiculous?
I identify, I'm a registered Democrat because I want to be able to vote in the primaries, and that's pretty much it. But I mean, other than that, I welcome people to change my viewpoints on other parties. I really look forward to it. But if owning a Tesla is going to separate me from the pack, like what the hell? This just seems like a big ad for
Yeah.
Tesla.
I don't identify as anything based on for work reasons. I'm very private
okay.
politically. / you could read my tweets and probably figure it out. But like I'll just say for now, I do think that focusing on ideas and not the party is interesting. But as you said, you have to do better than a Tesla and like some weird paranoid off the grid stuff.
All right, you guys have brought me back. I hear people, I'm coming back. And you know what, if you want to vote for a pot smoker who owns a Tesla, you could vote for my friend Roseanne Barr, who did run for president, has a great documentary that you should also check out. Anyway, what do you think on this story? A Republican off the grid, does it make any sense? Let us know in the comments right down below. Apparently America is now post-racial. That was quick.
A new poll reveals Americans are bracing for a summer of racial disturbances across the country. According to NBC News and the Wall Street Journal, 96% of adults surveyed believe this year's racial unrest is symptomatic of broader national problems. But African Americans and whites are deeply divided about why the urban violence is occurring. 60% of blacks said the violence was the result of long-standing frustrations about police mistreatment of African Americans, while 27% of blacks claimed the disturbances were an excuse to engage in looting and violence. White respondents had an almost polar opposite response. 58% said the violence was an excuse to loot, while only 32% claimed the events were because of long-standing frustrations with the police.
All right, so clearly the most interesting part of that is the end, that basically white and black people are reviewing what's going on in the country right now completely in reverse. Now you two are white, am I correct? Which is pretty much the worst thing there is. This is three white people. There is nothing worse than this. So let's three white people talk about.
At least we're gay, right?
At least we have three gay white people talking about race.
Honestly, that's the only saving grace. That's the only.
So we have a little minority card.
I'm still checking my privilege like all the time, but like I at least have that going for me.
You have the gay thing.
And I'm a woman.
Yeah,
you're a woman. I mean, like.
Wait a minute, I'm a woman and I'm gay.
So then we'll put you in the most special class here.
Yes, thank you.
So as three white gay people with a little bit of privilege and some of it's checked or something like that, did you think that after 6 years of Obama being president that race relations would seemingly be worse than they were 6 years ago? Or are they not worse and it's just some kind of media construct or something like that?
Well, I mean, did I think that they would be worse after Obama was president? I mean, I think that what would happen is that it would be talked about more, like the concept of race and racial improvement, because I think a lot of people put high hopes in Obama changing the perspective of how people were perceived racially. And I don't know if that happened. I think that now more discussion is being had and people are kind of enraged and coming out in the public and it's being heightened now. But I don't know, this whole thing, first of all, the fact that 60% of black people are saying that this is why we're pissed off, and white people are saying, this isn't why you're mad. You know, it's like, wait a minute. No, they just said that's why they're mad.
Right, like white people don't get to tell black people what they can be mad about. Actually, that's one
Although they've thought that way for entire history.
Yeah, you know, not that I defend Fox News often, but you know, every now and again there'll be a black person on Fox News and people will be like, oh, that's just a token black person, but you know, defending whatever. But I'm like, who am I to tell any black person what they think, whether I agree with them or not?
Sure.
I'm
just not shocked that white people missed the point there entirely.
Do you think race relations are actually worse now? Like it seems.
I don't
worse,
think they're worse, but I think that people are emboldened in a way to kind of like speak out about the injustices they see in a way they weren't before, which is a great thing. And because of that, there are a lot of scared racist people who are kind of nervous and sort of saying go in the opposite direction. So they become more not actively racist, but like more outspoken in their antiquated beliefs. So it kind of serves the other thing,
Yeah, it seems to me that just there are always going to be a certain amount of racist people, but as long as they keep that stuff private and aren't trying to legislate on it or whatever, make it public, then I guess it's okay. Like you're allowed to think.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice
even if it's gross,
if they weren't like,
but it's not
part of the system?
Yeah, but they are.
You're right.
Yeah. So what do we do to make some of this stuff better? I mean, talking about it's good, right? And it's in the news now, so that's good. Yeah. And it's good to see that minorities are feeling empowered that they can do it. But like, what do we actually do?
I mean, the root of the issue has to be addressed here, and I don't even know if we know what that is. Yeah. People need to be heard. Like, actually sit down and listen to why these people are feeling so frustrated. I mean, the fact that, and also I feel like the media is taking a huge card in this because, you're seeing the riots, you're seeing the looting, and that's kind of all you're seeing. You're not hearing the reasons behind it. You're not a lot of people that are looting are being interviewed.
Right.
And you're just seeing this rage and being removed from it, even being in California, which is a liberal state, you're still seeing this, really emotionally fueled response, and you're not really knowing what's behind it or what's really going on. And on the same token, if you were to watch, I'm sorry, but I've been living in San Francisco now. I was walking around after the Giants won, and similar situations were happening. And that was over them winning the World Series.
Right, and white people were burning cars.
Yeah. But it wasn't, for some reason, it wasn't viewed with the same type of, shock and dismay.
Yeah. How much? So as a guy in the media, how much
Yeah.
of this is actually, because people say this all the time, like the media is only showing the rioting, but I don't necessarily think that the media has a narrative as much as the media shows what will be clicked on.
Right,
So
and
if someone's
that's
burning
true.
a car or has a bat and they're bashing a police car, yeah, the media is going to show that. Like, I don't think the media, people like to think it's like a conspiracy, like the media sits down
Right.
and like, we're going to do it. But I think it's just, they will go to where clicks
but
are.
that's
Well, you
really
can. I mean,
sad.
you can look to BuzzFeed.com for more well-rounded coverage.
Yeah, but no,
That's
BuzzFeed
true.
does do an
That's
extra.
But I think that there is a sense like people cover the riots, not the protesting that happens before the riots. They wait for something dramatic to happen. And it doesn't look as good for the protesters because you're not hearing their side of it. You're not
Yeah.
kind of seeing the peaceful protests that sometimes erupt in violence. But you're focusing only on like the burning of cars and that
Right,
sort of
but
thing.
isn't that just the nature of what people watch? Like,
Yeah, I don't
look,
think
we're
it's-
doing this on YouTube. I know what people click on. If we talk about sex or beheadings, they literally get millions of views. And if we talk about political stuff, it gets.
Should I light my mug on fire?
If you could just smash her with a thing and then it's a hate crime
and then we'll have sex, all
Yeah,
of us.
that would not be posted on YouTube, but it would be on XTube.
But
and,
the thing is this, here's the thing, like yes, people will click on that now and people are interested in seeing that, but is that because we don't have a strong voice that is speaking out and really pulling us in? Like, I'm sorry, but like Martin Luther King, we were
Yeah.
all, you know, and I mean, not me personally because I wasn't alive, but
Yeah.
you know, everybody
But you
was
would.
really just wanted to watch, wanted to be part, and it was not action so much as words
Yeah.
that were pulling people in, and I think we have a really strong lack in that right now.
Yeah, do we just need better leaders in general? Because I would go on that. Like, we
Yeah.
need better, I think
Sure,
everybody.
let's
We
just-
just-
yeah, why not?
Better
Yes.
leaders. Leaders, where are you? We need better leaders all around. Anyway, what do you guys think? Are race relations worse? Are they better? Is the media to blame? Is the media getting together and secretly talking about you and plotting how do you live your life? Let us know in the comments right down below. As the Bible says, thou shalt not discriminate against atheists.
Madison, Wisconsin City Council has made a decision to protect the non-religious from discrimination. Believed to be the first statute of its kind in the United States, the law protects atheists and other non-religious persons from discrimination in areas of employment, housing, and public accommodations. The author of the ordinance, Anita Wire, said, "It just seems to me that religion has spread into government more than I feel comfortable with. It occurred to me that religion was protected, so non-religion should be too."
So I do a whole bunch of stories about atheism because I really think this is one of the most underreported things. We see stories all the time and polls that atheists are actually the most hated group in America. I see on the left constantly people turning against atheists, which I cannot believe. There is no group of atheists that I know of that is promoting hate against people. You don't see a lot of atheist rallies where they want to kill people and stop free speech and blah, blah, blah. Why do people have a problem with atheists?
I mean, why people have a problem broadly, I would say, is because they're religious folk who don't like people who are not religious, who are heathens.
But I thought religion preaches tololerance and
That's a whole separate
they're not
issue.
religious. Oh.
But I think that the reason why a lot of liberals don't like atheists is because atheists tend to be very loud and adamant about something that no one's bothering them about. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know
Yeah.
what happened to make her do this ordinance, but I don't know that she was actually being affected in her daily life in any way by not being religious or not believing in God. Like, I think she was probably doing just fine.
Right.
And I don't want to make assumptions, but a lot of times there are things that are done that are more for the symbolic reasons. Like, I don't want to be discriminated against. I don't think that atheists, by and large, are being discriminated against. If you want to run for president or run for office, you'd have to probably, if you were an atheist, lie about that. For example, you have to be like religious in some way.
Well, that's actually a great point because I'm pretty sure that Bernie Sanders is an atheist and he's running for president. But I would imagine that if he has any chance, it's actually going to hurt him, right?
Right. I mean, so in that case, sure, that's a problem. But I feel
Yeah.
like in most people's lives, like not believing in God does not have any effect.
See,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I think I slightly disagree with why you think that that people get so angry about it. I think it's because it removes that sense of hope. Like, regardless of if you consider yourself Jewish, Muslim, Catholic, whatever, or agnostic, it's like you still have that sense of spirituality, which is like a sense of hope in the world that there is more
Right.
out there. And atheists kind of challenge that concept and remove that. Like, they're like, nah, this is it. This is the best you're gonna get. Sorry about that. And you're like,
Right.
fuck you. Like, no, you're not gonna take this away from me. You
Right.
know? And I think that's what really what fuels that anger and that discrimination, and that kind of makes them the ultimate other, because at least all religions, they're all saying there is something else. There's hope for more. I'm having faith in something, and atheists are just saying, no, you can pretty much shoot that.
Right. So I think a lot of people do.
Well, I think when I'm talking about people, like, I mean, like, I don't particularly believe in a higher power, but I don't identify as an atheist because there's a connotation that, like, people who are loudly saying I'm an atheist, the same people who are saying, like, I'm straight edge, which, like, if you're sober, great, and if you're like part of the program, great. But if you're like straight edge, like, that's like, why are you, like, what are you talking about?
Wait,
Like,
I don't even know what straight edge is. That's someone
it's
that's
like-
super sober.
Wait, you don't know it's straight?
It's a whole thing, but it's like, you know, abstaining from drugs and like casual sex, I think is part of it too.
Yeah,
But
who wants to be
whatever
around
it is,
those
like,
people sound
whatever it is,
terrible.
but I had a friend who was like, I'm really straight edge, and I'm like, you can do all that, and that's totally fine, and I respect your choices, but like, why are you acting like you have to proclaim that loudly?
Right.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that the reason that the atheists have to do it is because I do feel like they think they're under attack a little bit in general, because when they see polls that say that they're more hated than pretty much every other group, I think they feel that, and then they are loud about it. So someone like Bill Maher, he's loudly an atheist because
Was he loud?
Because and he has a show and he's loud and outspoken. That the reason he does it is because someone has to, I think in their eyes, someone has to champion rationality instead of, I guess, all that hope stuff that often isn't true.
Their perspective of rationality, and like you're saying that people that they're clumping everyone else into the fact of being irrational, and you know they're just trying to put facts behind things and break it down to simplicity. And the fact of the matter is there's no proof of any of this. So it's total hearsay whether you're an atheist or
So you never had a spiritual, God never came to you in the shower, or you never
in the
were...
shower. It's always in the shower. I'm like, why do you always come in the shower? I'm all, no.
Yeah.
I
You
feel
never had one of
spiritual.
those
I'm
either?
spiritual.
I mean, I don't know. I was bar mitzvahed. But I'll just say, I guess to my
Getting gifts from strangers does not mean there's a higher power.
it does kind of I don't know. It might. No, I think to my point earlier, like I think I would feel the same way about someone. Like in the first conversation I have with someone, if they say I'm an atheist, I would feel the same way as if they said like I'm a Christian. Like I don't need to know that. It's not
don't
relevant to our
lead with
conversation. It's not something that like I feel like should be the focal point in your life.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I mean by like, you know, starting off that way or making it like a part of your identity in such a strong way.
The only time truly that I ever thought I had like some sort of experience with God or higher power or something, I was in Amsterdam for 7 days. I had smoked
really
so
high?
much weed.
Oh, yeah.
I had shroomed a couple times, and it was like day 6, and I was in a hostel, and I didn't know what was going on. And I remember laying in bed, and like I had this feeling that like something was there, and I was like connected to something. And I remember like 2 weeks later, I was just fucking stoned. Like I was just, or does God just come to you when you're stoned? How about that?
Or you're tapping into that other zone in your brain that allows you to connect, you know? That's why I don't think that, I'm going to say this, and I think it's fact, that we can look into this further.
Don't worry, you can say it either way.
Okay, yeah, it's fact. This is factual. That if you get caught with more than 3 sheets of acid, you can get charged with conspiracy to overthrow the government. Because if you get that many people together collectively out of their mind, what people say, it could just open their brain into like a whole new, like, you know, expansive world where you're thinking differently and flying and, you know, taking it to the next level.
Does acid lead to God? Let us know in the comments right down below. Air is the new black oil.
A Vermont man alongside singer Pat Boone has created an eco-friendly car that runs on compressed air. As seen on ABC's Shark Tank, the duo pitched their car to a panel of potential investors in hopes of opening an operations plant in America to make their dreams a reality. Based on the current prototypes, the vehicle operates on a propulsion system, not a combustion system, and can reach speeds up to 50 miles an hour. The car plans to retail for an astonishingly low price of $10,000.
All right, this is exactly what we've all been waiting for, right? We were talking about the Tesla earlier. I love the Tesla. It's like
You love
Have
the
you ever been in the
Tesla.
Tesla? Have you been in the
No,
Tesla?
I haven't.
You haven't been, have you been in the Tesla?
I've been in it, but I haven't driven in one.
It's like being in an iPad. It's really,
Oh my God.
it's really, really great. Anyway, but this is even cooler than, forget electricity, air. A lot of air. We're surrounded by air right now. Did you know that?
I don't know.
This seems great to me. It's cheap.
It's adorable.
It's adorable. It looks like the car in that the Larry David HBO movie,
It looks
the
like
Herbert.
It looks like a ladybug.
Yeah, looks like a ladybug.
The red one.
Car powered by air. Pretty good, right? We have to get behind this.
Do
Do we?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's
I
wrong
think
with
we
you
will
people?
actually literally need to get behind it to actually push it
Yeah.
after the 80 miles that it lasts for, which
Yeah.
that's like in best case scenario, it lasts for 80 miles.
But isn't that just the beginning of anything?
No,
like
this
that's
is
what they
the
used to say
beginning.
about electric cars all the time. Oh, they're only going to go
Totally.
10 miles an hour.
100%.
Yeah,
I'm
and now
all about
we're all
this.
driving electric cars.
Well, we're getting there because of the Tesla.
Tesla,
Got
yes. You are sponsored
Tesla
by
should be
Tesla.
paying me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should be paying
The
you.
thing
Or
is-
sending you a Tesla at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Tesla,
Yeah.
where are you people? Let's go. Send you my address. Okay,
I
go.
just view this, I'm concerned about putting that much compressed air in a small space and then sending it quickly down the street where other cars could potentially T-bone it and create a little, I mean, luckily it's like a little balloon of explosion, but still nonetheless, I don't think you're gonna make it out of that one alive. Does this not seem crazy?
Interesting. That's like a
insane?
science reason. I'm concerned about not being able to drive
Yeah,
faster than 50
this-
miles per hour.
The science people are going to be all over you on
I
that
know.
one. Well, but air wouldn't explode. And
No, I researched this a little
Oh.
bit, and some people are saying 100% it would explode.
Yeah.
You have compressed air in a small space. You combine that with heat from an explosion.
Yeah.
I mean, from a crash, and it's an explosion right there.
Wow.
I-
He's really
I-
putting the kibosh.
I know,
on
and
this
I'm
thing.
just like,
Please.
it's too slow.
Sorry.
It's too
It's
slow.
too slow.
I actually
50 miles
work for
per hour?
Tesla too.
Yeah, but it'll get there. That's the point. This
I know,
is just
but
the
like,
beginning.
you know what I'm waiting for is the car that can drive itself. That's also going to be there in 10 years.
Yeah.
I want one of those.
Well, we've done stories on that. Don't you fear, though, that the car eventually
No.
will turn on you and kill you?
No, I want a car that will park for me.
Yeah, all right, so it's going to parallel park for you, but then ultimately it will kill you. Don't you?
Yes.
The
I mean,
robots
yes,
are going to come.
okay.
I mean,
Well,
every week I do, the robots
Listen,
are coming
we
to kill
have,
us.
we're either going to die from cancer or we're going to die from a robot, like, revolution.
Yeah.
They're going to overthrow all of us. So either way, we're kind of screwed. So I'd rather honestly have the robots.
Okay, would you guys at least accept, why don't we have a flying car? I'll go with you. All right, forget the air car. You don't want the air car? No air car. What about a flying car?
I mean, I'd be
Why
all
don't we have
about
the flying car?
Well, I think there's that whole like stoplight traffic signal thing. Like it would just be
it's
a
just-
free for all in the sky. Like, yeah, who needs traffic signals?
So it's really about infrastructure for
Pretty
you.
much,
You'd,
I
all right,
think.
that's a very factual
I thought about
answer.
this too. Like, would you have to signal up if you were gonna like take your car to the like above lane? But no. Also, I just feel like, why do we need flying cars? They're
Why?
really cool to look at, but like practically, like, what would that actually do?
You guys are the two most literal guests.
I
mean,
know,
no,
we're awful.
I'm all
Sorry.
about
What?
it. But can we talk about why Pat Boone is the one that nobody's talking about that?
Well,
Like,
he's a nature guy, right? So like he likes air.
I suppose so. I mean, it's like being like Neil Diamond is supporting, I don't even know. Solar.
Oh, you got to finish that.
I don't know. God, now I just froze
Neil-
under pressure. Quick, go.
Ah.
I'm turning it on you. You're the host. Go.
Neil Diamond loves solar power. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments right down below. You won't like me when I'm angry due to excessive steroids.
A Brazilian bodybuilder has been hailed as the real-life Hulk, boasting incredible 63-centimeter biceps. Unfortunately, Romario Alves's striking muscles weren't just the product of bench pressing. Instead, the man turned to a lethal cocktail of oil and alcohol injections called synthol to enhance his arms. After 3 years of habitual use, Romario's addiction turned deadly. The injections caused a buildup of rocks, yes rocks, inside his arms, while toxins in the oil began to trigger kidney failure. Doctors originally threatened to amputate both arms, but they were able to remove the synthol rocks and he made a full recovery. Romario hopes his story brings awareness to other athletes who are curious about performance-enhancing drugs.
All right, so we're going to link to more about the story right down below. And in it, it's actually pretty depressing. Like, he ended up trying to commit suicide, and he was in depression for a long time. Clearly, like, some sort of body dysmorphia
Yeah.
and all of that stuff.
I have this look off my face. I have this like, I can't.
Yeah, go,
I
take it away.
No, I know. I don't like muscles anyway, honestly. So that was a lot for me.
You don't like muscles at any level, not just
No,
these
none.
freakish muscles.
Like a little bit's okay, like enough to like lift a bag. But like past that, no, gross.
yeah. What kind of gay are you? Gays are obsessed with muscles.
That is not true, and you know that's not true.
I live in West Hollywood. These people have muscles.
I live in
on
Los
top.
Feliz, so I'm fine.
Oh, see, that's what I should probably move to Los Feliz. Yeah, I mean, this is actually kind of a sad story, right?
It is sad. It's very sad. I mean, his wife was pregnant. He tried to commit suicide during that time. I mean, he was about to have the thing he worked so hard for, or maybe didn't work hard for at all, but were about to be amputated. I'm like, did he have strength with this product, or is it just producing like
I think
these
he was
massive?
also,
Right,
he
that's
was also
interesting.
working out though, so I think he probably
not?
had muscles that were just kind of bigger looking.
Well,
right?
that's what I'm saying. But here's the thing that I'm wondering about, and I know that with your extensive medical background, you can
Yes,
answer
yes.
this for me.
Yes.
When these rocks are forming, doesn't it? in turn kind of constrict his actual muscle mass, like the ability to grow. So
yes, well, as a doctor, I can confirm that. Right, yes, obviously, when you have giant arms like this, like you wouldn't be able to do certain things. But I always think this when I see these guys with huge muscles in West Hollywood. I'm like, you guys don't look like you can move really.
Also,
so, like, could you even throw a ball?
No.
You know?
Who cares about like practical uses aside from sex?
I mean, can you imagine having sex with that?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, what do you hold on to?
You can hold on to those 2 nodules that are sitting next to his neck. What are those things? There's not even a muscle there that does that.
That's not like, I don't have a muscle there.
No, I don't either, thank God. But they are like little handles,
but
though.
the thing that's most depressing about the story is that they call him the real life Hulk, and he's not even green. So what's the goddamn point? If you're gonna inject yourself with something, at least include some food dye, so we can have like a full experience.
Well, how much of this do you think has to do with just like the state of technology we live in, where everything looks better everyone wants to show off constantly on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and like you filter things and you manipulate things and you take 18 selfies so you always look great. So everyone always looking at things that look better than actual.
I think you could totally talk about like how that affects body dysmorphia and like anorexia and bulimia and all sorts of eating disorders, but this guy in particular, I feel like is not so much about Instagram and more about like that particular lifestyle, which I don't know, maybe I don't follow enough muscle people on Instagram, but I feel like that's kind of its own thing. Yeah. I think there is like within that community, like a desire to get bigger and just bigger.
Yeah. How much for you, like that social media part of it, you're a public person, like people are coming to your stuff to see you, like that you can manipulate every image about you. Like it definitely affects how we all act, right?
I'm horrible with posting pictures of myself because I have no shame or filter. Like I'm not one for filtering out or smoothing things. I should. The other day I posted a video of myself literally looking like a potato. Like my face looks like a potato, and I didn't care apparently because you know what? Screw it. I had just woken up. I think, and you know what? It feels good because it's like I feel like people can maybe relate to me more. That's what I'm telling myself to feel better about the situation.
Are you okay looking like a potato? Let us know in the comments right down below. Amazingly, this story has nothing to do with porn.
A 21-year-old Chinese man collapsed outside of an internet cafe after a 14-day internet gaming spree. After the paramedics rushed the man to the hospital to treat his injuries, the man begged the doctors to, quote, leave him alone and turn on the computer because he wanted to surf the internet. A spectator at the cafe claimed she saw the young man often during his 2-week binge, during which he chain-smoked, hardly showered, and ate almost nothing. The man, known as Mr. Shia, claimed that he had run away from home after becoming hooked on online role-playing games, such as World of Warcraft, and he had found confidence in this virtual world. According to government figures, out of China's 649 million internet users, there are an estimated 24 million internet addicts, many of them teenagers.
All right, so this is one of my high horse things, that we're all addicted to this thing. I don't know if you guys watched Black Mirror, but it's a great show on Netflix, all about sort of the future and how this thing is connecting us and how it's changing us. They've done stories about how the internet is rewiring our brains and our need for constant approval and immediate gratification and all that. Is this like the next addiction thing? Like, I feel like in the 70s it was pills, in the 80s it was coke, in the 90s maybe it was
Are we done with pills and coke?
Or we're done?
Like, I feel like it's like, slow down.
No, you're
like,
old school,
all right.
That's all right. Yeah, then it was maybe coke or something, and then it was meth. And like, is internet addiction like the next thing?
That's not a new thing, though. This has been going on for, since the internet became a thing. I feel like internet addiction is not anything new.
Yeah, but you don't think these games are adding to it? Like, I feel like
I totally agree with you. I just feel like it's not like a new thing. I feel like this is ongoing. I feel like there are stories like this all the time.
Yeah. What do you think? Is this like is this type of thing coming out more? That people are just literally living in these I mean, that's what he was doing. He was living in a virtual world. His body was just some vessel that was to allow him to be in this other universe.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's because we're becoming reliant on technology in every sense. So we never get a break from it. So with every new technological advance, it just removes one more thing that we can do independently without technology. So it's not like with coke and with heroin, like nobody else, not a lot of people around you are doing it. You're kind of in this little bubble. But
unless you're having a really good time.
Exactly. But here it's like everyone is doing it. It's around you all the time, and you need it to like get you from point A to B, to make phone calls, to find out information. And so it's like dangling the drug in front of you all the time, so you can't escape it. I think yeah, it's just going to keep spiraling out of control, really.
Do you feel like we're trapped by it? I totally do.
I mean, I not to the extent that you do, because I am obviously an internet addict, so I have to kind of downplay it. I will say that my ex, like many years ago, was a World of Warcraft addict, and there were times when I was like, I want you to choose between World of Warcraft and me, but I couldn't because I knew what he would choose. So it wasn't me, in case that wasn't clear. So I mean, I don't know what the solution is. I feel like we're too far down the rabbit hole now. So I might as well make the best of it.
So whenever we do these stories, I always ask everybody, do you try anything to get off the grid a little bit to do that shutdown? Because sometimes we'll have a couple people over for dinner and I'll tell everybody, just let's all put the phones away, not look. But then I notice we could go 2 hours without the phones and everyone's present and actually looking at each other and having real meaningful conversation. But the second one person does it, everyone gets the clearance and then everyone's like, bleh.
Exactly.
Do you do anything to do the shutdown?
Oh, 100%. I mean, my wife and I do no phone dinners all the time. It's like a rule. I've left the country before and walked across the entire country of Spain without my phone just to get away, just to disconnect. It's nice to do that. You realize after you go through that detox period of feeling like, you are missing something or need it, you realize you're so much more self-aware. I mean, you're enjoying your surroundings more. You're open to experiences and new relationships and ideas. It's crazy how much this actually, even though we think it expands our world, it really stifles our minds.
Yeah. All right. So as a confessed internet addict, do you, first thing in the morning, you wake up, do you immediately go to your phone before you brush your teeth?
I'm not as bad as I used to be, honestly. I mean, this sounds still bad, but I'll get into work first. I'll drive to work and then check my phone, which is actually,
good.
All right,
better
that's
than
pretty
waking
good.
up. But I mean, do I go a whole day without it? No, I couldn't do that. But one day at a time.
One day at a time. All right, there you go. One day at a time. Anyway, how addicted to this stuff are you? You guys know I talk about this all the time, I think, and I suffer from it too, so I'm not being holier than thou, but I do try to shut down every now and again. Let us know your thoughts in the comments right down below. This story gives a whole new definition to the term puppy love.
As final exams sneak closer, a college in the UK has found the key to distressing their overly caffeinated students, a puppy playroom. Organized by the school student union in coordination with the Guide Dogs charity, attendees are asked to make a small donation to the charity in order to play with the puppies, which are all guide dogs in training. Unsurprisingly, the puppy room is already fully booked with the reservation list at maximum capacity.
So I want to do this story because I actually have a friend that they're doing this in LA now to parties. You can rent puppies and then you just get into a room full of puppies. And my friend did this and she just had puppies jumping all over her. She said it was the most wonderful thing ever. She felt like
There's nothing better
than puppies all over you. Is this just the greatest thing ever? Puppies all over you.
It sounds like a lesbian thing. Did a lesbian start this?
Yeah?
I don't know.
Wouldn't that be more of a cat? That would be a
maybe
cat.
a cat. There is
That sounds terrible.
In Oakland, there's an amazing
Can you imagine me in your room, cats all over?
I love cats.
Okay, kittens though?
I know,
That'd be so cute.
You're a total
They're in
animal.
Oakland. There's a place called Cat Town, and it is a cat cafe, and you can go in, and I've been there as a lesbian in a flannel.
Yes.
You can reserve a time, and you all go into this room and just sit and hang out and drink coffee with cats and pet them. But you have to let them do their own thing, too. There's rules.
Because they're cats.
Because they're cats.
You truly love pussy.
I love pussy. God, that's really true, holistically.
Well, now I know what we're making our GIF of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Puppies? Yeah, I'm all about it. We had puppies in the office, at one of those, they kind of corralled them and we just sat down and
So you did this?
No, it wasn't, it wasn't a therapy thing, but it was amazing. It was therapeutic, for sure. I mean, this is the first time I've wanted to go back to college, ever. And it's because I want an excuse to sit in the room with puppies.
Yeah. Now, I'm a big dog guy, love dogs. I do not like cats. I'm allergic to cats, which half my family is allergic to cats and the other half has cats, which I always thought was, that there's some therapy in there. But you like them equally, don't you? 'Cause I see what you're doing on Instagram. You love all animals.
I love all animals. And, I think maybe they should do a new study where they just put really stressed out dogs in a room full of babies and see what happens there. Flip it around. Let's make this interesting.
That would not
watch what happens to the
go.
babies.
Is that not?
Yeah, that would not go well.
It's not. But no, animals, I love them all. I think that it's great that they're using this therapy. I wish they would use rescue dogs to do this, rescue puppies maybe, and not those all seem like purebred, so that would be.
But
my
they're guide dogs in training, so they're at least like
Right. So
Right.
these are guide dogs in training, and at the one that my friend did, all the puppies were up for adoption after. So if you want, but yes, they shouldn't be doing these out of mills and
Right,
all
I
that
hope
stuff.
that's not-
Are you equal? Are you equal?
I'm
cat?
allergic to cats.
Ah,
Also,
all right.
and dogs.
This is like.
I'm allergic to everything.
I think it's a gay guy thing.
I think
the
that I
allergic-
see what's
don't
happening
think it might
here.
be a Jew thing, but I think that like for me it's like I love them all and I will totally deal with like 3 hours of sneezing for the right animal.
Yeah.
They're just so cute.
All right. Well, I think we're all agreed that this is all good. So why don't you got a favorite animal rescue place?
Well, No Kill LA, I'm a big fan of that, obviously, because they're a no-kill shelter. Animal Acres, I'm a big supporter of them. They're a farm animal sanctuary located in Southern California. So, yeah, I mean, any place that's doing good for animals, I'm all about them.
Yeah.
I'll pimp those two out right now.
All right, not much debate here. We all love animals, right? You love animals, don't you? Are you a cat person or a dog person? Do you like ferrets? Do you like hamsters? Do you like lizards? What do you like? Let us know in the comments right down below. All right, that's the big show for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to let you guys pimp yourselves out. Do some branded pimping right
Oh,
here.
fantastic. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Whitney Mixter LA.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Louis Peitzman, which Dave will spell for you, I guess, because it's hard.
There is a link down below. We
There's a
are a
link down
professional
below.
operation around here. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We will do it again next week.